Hello everyone and welcome to another Helm to Tower video. I just first want to say thanks so much for everybody for checking out some of the videos I've been putting up on the channel so far. I greatly appreciate it, and all of the positive comments and letting me know that they've helped you out finding some cool stuff about Destiny 2. But enough about that. Let's get into the newest Destiny content that just released. Season of the Haunted has just started. It was revealed this week finally by Bungie, and now it is off in the game, so you can actually go check it out in the game. But if you haven't had time to jump in yet, I'll actually go ahead and play the trailer they used to reveal the new season. It's pretty cool. If you have already seen it, you can just jump to the timestamp I'll put in the video ahead. But for now, here, go ahead and check out this awesome trailer.
The lunar pyramid stirs to the Leviathan's call. It manifests our deepest regrets. Where once we banished the nightmares, a new terror rouses them from their slumber. We will not cower in fear of nightmares. We will rise to meet the enemy and confront our darkest fears with open eyes. The nightmares are converging on your location. Begin the harvest. And so you become an eater of fear. Magnificent. It is the beginning of the end.
So yeah, you can see now for Season of the Haunted, the Leviathan is back. This was a raid area from year 1 of Destiny 2 if you weren't playing during that time. So it's a big deal that it's now back and in this haunted form from the darkness. We don't really know what's going on yet, so that seems like that's kind of the big story thread for this season. I personally am pretty excited. I always loved the Leviathan as a destination and all of those raids that we once used to do there, and Callus, who was kind of the Cabal leader and Emperor, was a big part of that. And so I'm excited to see that story continue. But besides story stuff, there's a whole new set of activities to do, and also now the Leviathan as a destination that you can actually go to. If you head over to the moon map in game, you'll see that the Leviathan is a selectable destination now. And when you load in there, you'll see there's a whole bunch of areas you can explore. There's patrols and other things you can do kind of like in other like open world areas from like other destinations you can go to, like the moon and Europa and whatnot. But the main thing that's going on here is a new activity. It's kind of like a more elaborate public event, you could say, where it is basically called the Nightmare Containment, and basically you're fighting off waves of either Scorn or Cabal enemies as they kind of are going towards this relic that you're protecting. There's a whole bunch of different little mechanics going on in it. Like you'll see some of the, if you're familiar with any of the Throne World stuff, you'll see these little kind of diamonds in the sky that you have to shoot. Or you'll see from the Leviathan raid from years ago, there are these old kind of Cabal Scion dudes that are in little bubbles. And just know that like you can't shoot through the little bubbles. They are more just, you gotta just run up and punch those old dudes in the face. Do that for me. In particular, go punch them in the face. But from those, you'll see like as you're kind of defeating enemies and doing these little mini objectives, you'll be progressing through multiple tiers as you defeat those enemies and kind of clear out the nightmares, which are these yellow bar enemies that will also spawn during these waves, and they'll have little icons over them, as you'll see in some of the gameplay footage here. As you take those on, you'll upgrade to tiers and finally get to a third tier where a boss will spawn. Right now it is a big Scorn guy with like a big backpack, and he shoots rockets out. He was from Forsaken, that expansion, and it looks like there will be different bosses each week, is my guess so far. That seems like that'll probably be the cadence, where each week we'll get a different kind of boss you have to fight at the end of that tier. You can see maybe that there'll be more bosses if you look in the triumphs. For the destination, there will probably be more bosses, but once you defeat that boss, you'll get a chest at the end, as well as there will be this kind of red spire you can activate by this getting a specific kind of currency. I think it is called like the Vestige of Dread, as like a weird, interesting name. But yeah, if you collect about 500 of that, which you can just do by completing that activity over and over, or collecting various things on the Leviathan destination, you'll be able to unlock that, and it'll give you some more rewards, as well as this Bound to Darkness quest item, which will then let you continue the main story mission for each week. So it seems like that'll be the loop every week going forward, is running this containment public event here on the Leviathan until you can get the Bound to Darkness like item that'll progress the quest, and then you can then go do the next main activity for the season, which will be the Sever quest, which that seemed to be more like a story-focused quest. This week it is involved with Crow, and you're basically following him through this underbelly of the Leviathan. You're running through there and fighting Cabal, and learning how he's kind of battling this former version of himself before he became the Crow. Now he's kind of fighting that stuff. There's a lot of cool story stuff in there, so if you're into Destiny story stuff, I highly recommend definitely working through that quest for the season and seeing where that goes for yourself. I won't do too many spoilers here. I'll just talk about gameplay stuff. But yeah, that seems like that's generally the loop, is running that public event till you can unlock that bound thing at the end of the event for once you have the materials. On top of that, there will be in the Helm, there's the Crown of Sorrow, which is now the new kind of seasonal vendor. So that's where you'll be able to take your Umbral Engrams and focus the Umbral Engrams into special seasonal weapons. And that also has its own entire upgrade system that we'll be doing week over week as we get kind of the different upgrade materials you'll need to upgrade that. And that seems like that'll make those public events more rewarding, but also you'll be able to get more crafted patterns for crafted weapons from that particular vendor as well for the seasonal weapons. So that's pretty exciting. Let's actually, speaking of weapons and all those things, let's actually get into some of the weapons this season, because they're really cool. Definitely if you're a little bit of a veteran player, you'll recognize some of these Callus themed weapons. They are the Leviathan themed weapons because they are from an earlier Destiny season that was called the Menagerie, or the Season of Opulence, excuse me. The activity itself was called the Menagerie. It was a very popular activity way back in early Destiny 2 that let you kind of focus and find weapons, and they had all of these really cool, you'll see these gold and purple kind of very regal looking weapons. Those were from that season. These are updated now. They have their own origin perk, which is pretty cool. To access final blows with this weapon while your super is full, grant a bonus to strength and discipline for a moderate duration. So that's a pretty interesting one. I can see some uses for that already, and I'm excited to dive deeper into builds and things like that. As you also will know that this season they introduced a Solar 3.0, and they've updated the Solar subclass to have the fragments and aspects that the other classes now have, like Void and Stasis. So I'm pretty excited to dig into that. I will probably have a video in the future that goes more in depth with that stuff once I've had more time to mess around with the aspects and fragments, and also comboing them with some exotics. I'll probably dig a little deeper into that in another video. But on top of those Callus themed opulent weapons, there's also a new set of weapons that are tied with those that you can also get through that public event and on the Leviathan. They have like sort of a similar golden kind of red kind of haunted theme. They're pretty cool looking. Like there's a new glaive, arc energy glaive that's pretty cool, and there's also a stasis rocket launcher and a legendary void trace rifle. Those have their own origin perk as well, which we can look at. and it's called Extrovert, while final blows while near multiple combatants or near nightmares restore health. So that's definitely useful, especially on Leviathan, because you'll be fighting a lot of nightmares in that new public event. So that seems like it'll be pretty handy. But yeah, that's mainly the weapons you can get as a part of the new seasonal activities on the Leviathan. Those are also the main craftable weapons, so you'll be able to go to the crown later in the season as you do upgrades through that and grab some red border weapons from them, or get them to randomly drop as you're doing activities on the Leviathan, and then you'll be able to craft them at the Enclave once you have all of those. So that's pretty exciting. All of those weapons seem really great. On top of that, there's a bunch of new world drop weapons, like there's a stasis bow that can get headstone. It's pretty fun. There's a hotkey SMG that's in the primary slot. I haven't messed with it yet, but I'm sure it'll be good. I always am a fan of SMGs. There's two Nightfall weapons, which are actually also returning weapons. Horror's Least is a pulse rifle, and there's also the DFA hand cannon. Those are both going to be dropping only from Nightfalls, and if you're into Grandmaster Nightfalls, those will be Adept as well later in the season. So that's pretty exciting. I always like getting my hands on Adept weapons, so I'm definitely looking forward to getting a Horror's Least later in the season. Outside of that, there's a whole bunch of other stuff. We have a dungeon dropping pretty soon here. You can actually go into collections and see some of the weapons already. Just if you're, looking to avoid spoilers before the dungeon drops. I won't put any of those in the video, but just know they are in collections. If you want to go take a look at them, there's even the exotic weapon that'll be you'll be able to get from that dungeon that is in the collections as well. So you can go check that stuff out. But yeah, I think that's mostly it for a good overview of what you can expect from the new season. There are a few other things, like there are some new exotics that you can get for armor for each class. They're pretty fun. The Titan one especially stood out to me, sounding really cool, because it gives Void Titans and their shield throw a second charge of that shield throw, and also makes it so it can pass through anti-barrier or do anti-barrier effects on champions. So that sounds like it'll be pretty fun in some endgame content potentially. So I definitely am curious how that'll work out. But I think I'm going to leave a lot of those build and theory crafting things for a future video once we get deeper into the season and have a little bit more time to mess around with this stuff. That's at least where I'm at. But so far, for these first couple of days, I've been really enjoying the new season. I love the new area on the Leviathan. Returning to that destination was something I've been looking forward to for a while. A lot of the new weapons seem pretty cool. Solar 3.0, I still have a lot more I can mess around with. I've mainly really only played on the Warlocks so far, and they've been pretty fun. Of course, if you've seen the trailer, they have a new finger snap melee that's super satisfying to pull off. Some of the other stuff looks very fun as well, like the Hunter with the trip mine you can throw and shoot to explode and detonate for a bigger area of effect. Looks super fun and satisfying, so I'm excited to check all of that stuff out. And I'll be talking about that in a future video. Hopefully I'll get back into the swing of things here over at Helm to Tower with more videos. We also, if you're into watching streams, at twitch.tv/Irrational Passions, which this channel, by the way, is a sister site of, or sister channel of, sister YouTube channel. We'll be live streaming some Destiny stuff there every so often, but we'll probably be from here on. Any archives of Destiny streams will be here as well, so feel free to check out the archives here on our YouTube channel, as well as all the other videos and guides and things we'll be doing in the future. But thanks again for watching this Helm to Tower video, and we'll see you all next time.